When you give somebody a jar of homemade strawberry jam, you make a friend for life. So let's learn how to make strawberry jam and some friends. There's a lot of science behind jam making, but you don't need to go into all the details. All you really need to know is that there are 5 things you must have. You have to have fruit, you have to have some acid like lemon juice, you need to have some sweetener like sugar, you have to have pectin, which is a natural carbohydrate that's found in some fruits and vegetables, and we need some heat. Today we're going to make strawberry jam. Let's start with the fruit, strawberries. You can dice the strawberries in large chunks or small chunks depending on what you want your jam to eventually be like. I'm going to make quick work of it with an electric mandolin. Before you actually make your jam, you want to make sure that your jam jars are sanitized. You can do that in the dishwasher using the SANITIZE cycle, or you can boil them in a large stock pot of water for 15 minutes. Remove them with tongs, let them air dry. Now here are all our strawberries. I'm going to put them into a big pot. I say big pot because that's really important. You want to make sure that you do not come more than halfway up your stock pot with your strawberries. You've got your strawberries in the pot, add another one of our essential ingredients, some acid, lemon juice, and now we're going to add some pectin. Strawberries don't have a lot of their own pectin, so we add pectin when we're making strawberry jam. Give this a good stir. And then we're going to bring this to a boil that won't be stirred down. That means it's boiling so hard that when we stir it, it continues to boil. That boil continues, it's ready for the next step. And this is why you want to use a large stock pot. We're going to add all the sugar all at one time, and it's going to bubble up. And don't worry, it will settle down again as the sugar dissolves. We're not going to stir once the sugar is in the pot. Bring that back to a boil, and once it's at a boil, we're going to time a vigorous boil for a minute. Once that has boiled vigorously for 1 full minute, turn the heat off. Now we're going to skim off any foam that has risen to the top of that jam. We have to test this jam to see if it's reached what we call the gel point. To do that, I have a couple of plates that I put in my freezer for at least an hour. They're super cold. I'm going to drop the jam onto the plate and we'll see how it sets. It should set up immediately. So take a spoonful of the jam, dot the plate, and then wait for a few seconds to see if it sets up. If it doesn't set up, no worries. Just continue the boil for another minute or so and then test it again. So now you can see this jam is setting up nicely on this cold plate. You can run your finger through it to really test the consistency. If it's at the right consistency, then it's time to get it into the jars. Pull your sanitized jars down close to you and we'll get ready to ladle it in. It's a lot easier to do this if you use a wide mouth funnel. Now we're going to put the lids on. So once all these lids are on, the jam needs to cool and set. And if you like, you can keep these in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 weeks and enjoy within that time period. If you want to keep them for longer, however, we're going to follow a water bath canning method. Let me show you how. The water bath method for canning is really simple. You just need a big stock pot and a rack that will fit in the bottom. So bring a 10-quart stock pot or so to a boil and pop your rack right into the bottom. Now we're going to take our jars of jam and we're going to place them onto that rack into the boiling water. You want the water to completely submerge the jars. We're going to leave these boiling for 15 minutes. 15 minutes of boiling water, 5 minutes to let it sit in the water. Now we're going to bring it to room temperature on the countertop. Be careful with these jars, they're still hot. And that sound you just heard is a joyous sound for any jam maker. That's a sign that tells you the lid is sealing to the jar. When that lid seals to the jar like that, the lid is indented. You'll be able to see that, and those jars will be shelf stable for 6 to 12 months. These jars of jam are going to set when they cool. So right now they'll still look runny to you. Don't worry. Once they're cold, they'll be beautiful and spreadable. You can keep them for yourself, or you can make some friends.